The Great War Begins, Vodcast 3, World War I. The aims of this podcast are for students to be able to identify the two powers that fought during World War I and to summarize the Schlieffen Plan. The Great War begins. As presented in Vodcast 2, the countries of Europe followed through on their pledges to support one another through the alliance system. As a result, the world was about to witness the largest, most destructive war of history. Taking sides. By mid-August 1914, the battle lines were clearly drawn. On one side was the Central Powers, which consisted of Germany and Austria-Hungary, which were later joined by Bulgaria and the Ottoman Empire. They were so named the Central Powers because Germany and Austria-Hungary were in Central Europe, the heartland. On the other side was the Allied Powers, or the Allies. This consisted of Great Britain, France, and Russia. Eventually, Japan, Italy, and the United States joined. The Schlieffen Plan. Germany realized they would be fighting on two fronts, France on the west and Russia on the east. Alfred von Schlieffen came up with a battle strategy to deal with this issue. The strategy became known as the Schlieffen Plan. The Schlieffen Plan details. Schlieffen proposed attacking France through Holland, Belgium, and Luxembourg along the Western Front. He also proposed to use 90% of German military forces to deliver a knockout blow to France. The remaining 10% of the forces would defend the eastern border of Germany against any Russian attack. The Schlieffen Plan assumptions. First, they believed Russia would take at least 6 weeks to mobilize. Second, they believed France would easily be defeated within those 6 weeks. Third, they believed Belgium would not fight back. And finally, they believed Great Britain would remain neutral. Reality of the Schlieffen Plan. The Germans were held up by the Belgian army, backed up by the British, which arrived extremely quickly. Russia mobilized in just 10 days, a lot shorter than the 6 weeks anticipated, and Germany was forced to withdraw troops from the western border to help defend her eastern border. Germany did not defeat France, and finally, the defeat of the Germans at the First Battle of Marne proved the Schlieffen Plan a failure. This concludes Vodcast 3, World War I, The Great War Begins. To recap, the aims were for students to be able to identify the two powers on each side, and finally to summarize the Schlieffen Plan.